Welcome to Short Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here, of course, for a poetry discussion. We have new videos here on the channel Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Mondays are for poetry. So we're back again with some Emily Dickinson. But I encourage you, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I also have new videos on my personal channel. On my personal channel, I do random stuff, sort of vlogger stuff. I do some workout stuff. I do movie reviews. I do reviews for other entertainment type things, and I try to talk about them on a literature/literary level, which I think is a little bit different than a lot of the movie reviews, or like right now, The Mandalorian, doing The Mandalorian. I think it's a little bit different than a lot of the conversation that circles around The Mandalorian as it drops. I'm going to do the WandaVision series as we get that in January. But for now, we are here to talk about Emily Dickinson. We're here to talk about some poetry. We're here to talk about poem 475 in the complete poems of Emily Dickinson. It reads as such. Doom is the house without the door. 'Tis entered from the sun, and then the ladder's thrown away, because escape is done. 'Tis varied by the dream of what they do outside, where squirrels play and berries die, and hemlocks bow to God. I'll read that one more time. Doom is the house without the door. 'Tis entered from the sun, and then the ladder's thrown away, because escape is done. 'Tis varied by the dream of what they do outside, where squirrels play and berries die, and hemlocks bow to God. What I will contest is the primary thrust of this poem. Doom is a word with finality. Doom is a place that is not to be escaped, because the very essence of the word doom is final, done, kaput. In this way, it is not of the design, by the design of humankind. I think this is what is meant by doom is the house without a door. 'Tis entered from the sun, like how sun comes in through the windows. And then the ladder's thrown away, because escape is done. This feels to me the question of religion throughout Emily Dickinson is one of a hairy nature. There are poems where Emily Dickinson, I think it depends a lot on the mood with which you are assuming Emily Dickinson penned that poem. All of the poems where she represents God, where she represents Christ, where she represents Christianity, where she represents heaven, they can all be read with a hefty dollop of irony if the reader so desires. However, they can also be read 100% genuinely. When you're talking about 100% genuine versus possibly 100% ironic, the landscape with which you are working is the entire array of what it is that poetry can do. So when you're talking about this idea of doom not being by the hand of humankind, not by the hand of man, can something be doomed? It has to be divinely so. So if that is the case, what kind of God would do such a thing? 'Tis varied by the dream of what they do outside. Doom is varied by the dream of what they do outside, where the squirrels play and the berries die, and hemlocks bow to God. Hemlock bows to God. Why bow to God? Because God can doom. So, is God deserving of that bow? Deserving of that subservience? Or does God simply subjugate through fear? I think that this is a question which is... This is a question which I have seen even individuals who are devoutly religious struggle. Pardon me. Christopher Hitchens, when he wrote his book, God is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything, when he went on his tour, he did not just go and do speeches and do book signings. What he wanted to do was set up a circuit of debates. And I believe Rabbi Shmuley, I will say that a lot of the rabbis were much more welcoming of the question than were the Christian apologists and preachers and theologians and things. The standard question, the standard answer from the Christians, at least in the debates with Hitchens, seemed often to be, well, we just don't understand. You know, it is what it is. Obviously there is evil. Obviously there is doom. Obviously there are these wicked things which happen. We just don't have the answers. The rabbi in the debates with Hitchens seemed to give a little more nuance to these ideas. And it's no wonder, I think, that there is quite a large contingency of secular Jews, of Judaism which is secular, which is Judaism by practice, perhaps not by faith. And a lot of the answers that have to do with evil from the Jewish side, like I say, they have a lot more nuance. They have a lot more, and I think that a lot of this comes from the Jewish texts. They are short the Christian text, right? No, that's an unfair way to say it. I shouldn't say it like that. They are, so Christianity is the Jewish text plus the Christ idea, which is the idea of redemption. And in the Jewish texts, a lot of it is, we screwed up and God punished us. And then we screwed up again and God punished us. The idea of Moses in slavery, the idea of the flood, the idea of being exiled from Eden, all of these things, we screwed up, we were punished. So I think that is part of the reason why there's such a different interpretation of these questions. But the question here with Emily Dickinson seems to be that doom, something with such finality, must be divinely inspired. And from that, the divinity demands subservience. Is this a fair way to say it? Is this a fair way to assess this poem? Is this a fair assumption of irony? I'm not sure. I don't know. But it seems to me, doom is the house without the door. You live there. You're not escaping. 'Tis entered from the sun, a divine inspiration, and then the ladder's thrown away. There's no escape, because escape is done, final, done. 'Tis varied by the dream. The doom is varied by the dream. The doom is varied by the dream, which insinuates it's the individual's doom. Not doom in general, the individual's doom of what they do outside. What is it that individual is upon which what is it that individual is focusing on? Where the squirrels play and the berries die and the hemlocks bow to God. A very interesting entry from the brilliant Emily Dickinson, if I am allowed to make that assessment. That is all I have for this poetry discussion here on the channel. Remember, I have new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on Stripped Cover Lit, and Mondays are for poetry.